Okay, today's lesson is the crossover step. In our previous lessons, we really talked about establishing a good base of support, which is our foot position. We really talked about loading the hips and then what the head and shoulders were doing. In today's lesson, we're actually going to expand on all those. So it's going to be really important that we paid attention to that stuff, because as we get moving here, we're creating more force. So the previous lesson, we talked about a shuffle step. If you notice my foot position, the shuffle step are small steps. The crossover step is a much larger step, so it creates more force. Okay? So it's important that we pay attention to those key positions. Today, as we cross over on this first one, we want to make sure that as the foot hits the ground, my head and chest is in front of the foot, and when the foot hits the ground, my head is actually going to turn to create the movement. So what our athletes are going to do, what Jen and Angie are going to do today, is they're going to approach the line in an upright posture. I'm still going to cue them with a set, so they'll be in that ready position. When I say go, they're going to make sure that the foot hits the ground before they turn the head. The lower they can keep the hips, the longer their step is going to be. Approach the line.
You first. I like when you go and demonstrate it.
Remember that the foot hits the ground before we turn the head. Set, go. Good. Same thing, Jen. Again, be patient. Set, go. Good. So it's really important that our shoulders are out in front of our foot, even on the crossover step. So when we get to that foot position here, the head and chest must be in front of the foot. Okay? Again, ladies. Big, low hips. Wait till the foot hits the ground. Head turn. Set, go. Excellent.
She's so good and low. Am I that low or am I high?
You're a little bit higher, but you're
Okay.
a little bit taller. So just work a little bit harder on getting into that low posture. Lower, longer.
Okay.
Set, go. Much better. So you'll notice Jen is doing a very good job with the crossover step and being patient to wait till her weight gets on the front foot before she goes. What I'd like to see from her is keeping her hips lower longer. So as she gets it down in that set position, she's staying down here on the step. So it's a much longer step.
And the reason being?
The longer the step is, the more power it creates, and you're closer to your target,
Love
closer
it.
to the goal. Set, go. Much better. So the next progression we're going to do is we're going to see if they can continue maintaining good form while we're moving. Okay, so similar to some of the previous drills, we're adding movement to it. So the next one we're doing is going to be 2 crossovers. So it's going to be a crossover, a second crossover before we turn the head and run. Again, make sure we're being patient enough that that foot hits the floor before the head turns. So even though we're taking 2 crossover steps, eventually there may be a cone on some other drills. If there is a cone, it's okay to take a 3rd crossover step if we need to, just like previous lessons. Okay? So remember, about 2 crossover steps. If you need the 3rd one, that's okay. Make sure the foot hits the ground before we turn the head.
Okay.
Set, go. Good. Remember the lower, longer a little bit, Jen, right?
Okay.
Set, go. So one of the things we discussed in previous lessons is that once we commit the head, we have to go that direction. So one of the reasons I'm coaching to wait until the foot hits the floor is because once we commit the head, we would have to totally stop and come back. There may be some further progressions down the road where we actually do a crossover step and stop before we commit to going a different direction.
Damn.